Good afternoon, everyone. Allison Scott here with Consolidated Planning Group. We are excited to be here with you again today. And today we have a panel, a residential facility panel. Today they're going to talk about who they are, where they're at, who they serve, and you're in for a real treat today. So we have several panelists today that are going to talk about their programs, and so today what you should know is your microphone and your cameras are muted, but we definitely can see your questions in the chat box. We definitely support your questions, and we want to get to as many questions as we can, so please do put your questions in the chat box. Today's meeting is being recorded, just for signing up for this meeting, either later today or tomorrow, you will get an email with the slides and with the recording. So thanks so much for being here. Consolidated Planning Group is a holistic special needs financial planning firm. We really custom design plans for people based off of their needs, their wants, and their goals for their special needs loved one, as well as their own retirement. So when we have a special needs loved one that needs care for the rest of their life, it's almost like a third retirement that we're looking at. So we really look forward to working with you and serving you, and it is our pleasure to put these educational events out there for you. So without any further ado, I am going to turn it over to Caitlin. Caitlin, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me, Allison. So yes, my name is Caitlin, and I am the outreach coordinator for 29 Acres. 29 Acres is a nonprofit in Crossroads, Texas, which is 30 minutes north of Dallas. We have a living community and 4 different programs meant to support the full spectrum of autism and neurodiversity to be more independent and involved in the greater community. Now, independence is going to look different between each resident. The goals will be different, the support need will be different, but we want to challenge them to be their most independent selves, whatever that may look like. And so our community just opened up last year in July of 2020. So if you're wanting to get a better look of the houses and bedrooms, you can visit our website, 29acres.org. So as of right now, we have a total of 8 houses and 3 different floor plans with a capacity of 32 residents. We currently have a wait list. However, we are adding 2 additional homes this year, which will bring our capacity to 40. So for the future, at most, we see about 14 houses total. So we won't get much bigger than we are now. And the idea of our community is to stay tight-knit and keep land undeveloped so we can still enjoy the countryside and know all of our residents on a personal level. And so our community could be a long-term or short-term residential opportunity. All residents sign a 1-year auto-renewing lease, so you can choose how long you live with us. And when we talk about rent, that rent is going to range from $2,600 to $3,100 per month, which is going to be dependent on the floor plan and is private pay only at this time. So our floor plans include 2-story and duplex homes for individuals who do not need direct support overnight. And then we have single-story homes, which are designed to have direct support in-house overnight. Rent includes having a private bedroom and sharing common areas of the home, like the kitchen, the living room, dining room, and laundry room. Now, 28 out of the 32 bedrooms have their own private bathroom, but in our 2-story floor plan, there is a Jack and Jill option where a bathroom is shared with one other roommate. And then when it comes to the furniture, 29 Acres furnishes the common areas of the home, and the bedroom and bathroom are for the client to furnish and decorate however they would like. Rent is also going to include all utilities, so electricity, water, and Wi-Fi. They also get access to our property manager who's on site 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have an overnight security guard who's awake, walking the grounds, and can control our gated front entrance. Residents also receive an activities calendar. So they get really 1 activity per day. Sometimes it's social, sometimes it's educational. It can also be off-site in the community or at 29 Acres. And then that's just going to vary between the season, the month, if there's any holidays, as well as the resident feedback that we get. And then they also receive a transportation calendar. And so this will include trips to the grocery store, places of worship, as well as the offsite activities that are a part of the activities calendar. And then rent will include access to the amenities like the pool, the hot tub, the fitness center, commercial kitchen, our game room that's full of board games, as well as video games. And then we also have a 1 acre garden. And then we are lucky enough to have some special residents with us. So we have goats, chickens, and alpacas, as well as a community dog that live with us. So that is a good leisure opportunity for our residents. And it's also an opportunity for them to partner with our property management team and actually help take care of the animals. So feed them breakfast, make sure they're in their pen at night, as well as collect the eggs that the chickens lay. But one thing about our living community is that we are considered to be independent living, which means that food and direct support are a completely separate cost of the rent. This is because we support the full spectrum and wouldn't want families paying for unused services. And it also allows us to open up our funding options on the support side as well. So here you'll see we have our enrichment services for our residents. With this program, we can support our residents and we utilize ABA therapy while we do that. And enrichment services can be almost anything. It can be teaching the life skills, it can be providing transportation and activities during the day, it could be vocational training and helping them gain employment, maybe checking in to see if their budget is on track, or it could be preparing and cooking the meals for the resident, or helping bathe them or use the restroom. It really just depends on the individual and their needs and goals. But the pricing is determined by that level of support we are providing. And this can also, again, vary between residents. So we have some residents who live with us and receive absolutely no direct support. They're just there for the atmosphere and social opportunities. We also have some that receive a couple hours a week to check in with them on a few things. And then others receive full 24/7 care and really everything in between that. So 29 Acres evaluates the level of support monthly to make sure that we are not under or over supporting the individual. We also max out our groups at 4 residents to 1 staff member because any larger than that would be pretty difficult to take data on their progress towards their goals, as well as their behaviors, and even tailor their schedule to their interests. So at the beginning, I had mentioned that the community, our model is focused on being involved in the community. And I just want to explain that a little more. So our programs, again, are not center-based, meaning they're not going to follow all their lessons and activities at 29 Acres. We like the residents to get off of 29 Acres out into the surrounding communities for their activities so they can learn in a natural environment. And these activities take place all over the DFW area. It could be, going to Jump Street, could be volunteering at Shiloh Gardens, going out to the lake and doing adaptive water sports on our boat, even going to the grocery store to work on following a grocery list and checking out independently. So every resident will receive that individualized life plan that determines their schedule and level of support. We're also fortunate enough to live within 15 minutes of different colleges and universities like the University of North Texas, Texas Women's University, and Tarrant and Collin College. We have partnered with many of their different departments, such as their kinesiology department at TWU, who comes out and leads exercise classes for our residents. The UNT music department has led music therapy activities with our residents before. And also having these universities so close, it's a great way for us to recruit quality staff for our residents as well. So UNT actually has a really well-known graduate BCBA program, which stands for Board Certified Behavior Analyst. So my last piece here is going to be talking about the funding options on the support side. This, we have a lot of different options. So you can, of course, go the private pay route, but we can also do insurance billing for ABA services or ABA therapy. We offer partial scholarships that are awarded based on need. We are also a vendor of Texas Workforce. So if you go through them and qualify for vocational funds, that can go towards your enrichment services with us. We also accept some Medicaid waivers on the support side as well. And then if you receive SSI funds, that can also go towards the costs too. And then I'd like to point out that we do offer other programs such as our 2-year residential academy and a summer camp. So please feel free to visit 29acres.org to learn more and get in contact with me so we can go a little more in depth of what we have to offer.
And when we put the email out later today or tomorrow, we'll have everybody's contact information in that email for you. So if you're not capturing it, Caitlin, thank you for sharing that. We got a couple of quick questions before we move on to Bloom. Would the transportation include to and from work for those residents who have jobs, or would they have to arrange that themselves?
So if they're receiving enrichment services for like supported employment or job placement, that would cover transportation. If they're not, let's say they already have the job, then they could utilize a couple different outlets. So we do have a volunteer driver program where we have vetted volunteers to come and drive our clients to and from work. We also have SPAN up here, which is the local ride share as well. And so you schedule out your rides in advance. They come pick you up and take you to work. And then, of course, you could utilize Uber or Lyft for those rides as well. And our staff could definitely help teach the resident how to use those other sources of transportation.
For sure, thank you. And can you guys act as guardian if necessary?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. And what about what would you allow the residents' Medicaid funds to pay for housing? Is there anything to that?
No, so on the housing side, it'll just be private pay at this time. We're currently on a wait list for HCS waivers, so maybe in the future we'll be able to accept those. But as of right now, waivers can only be used on the direct support service side.
Okay, perfect. And then someone asked us to repeat the rent cost, and I had 2,600 to 3,100 a month, and then food was above and beyond. Is that about right?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for being here with us today and sharing about your facility. We're excited. You said you guys have been around for about a year, so you guys are doing big things over there. So we're glad to add you to the fold. So thanks for being here. So next we're moving to Bloom Consulting and Ronnie Joe Frazier. Are you with us, Ronnie? Okay, Ronnie, they're in their office, their internet went down today. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna skip over Ronnie. We're gonna come back to Bloom Consulting in a few minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and move on to Brookwood, and then Ronnie will come back to us in a little bit. Okay, so Laura, we're ready for you.
Okay,
Thanks
good.
for being with us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. So my name's Laura. I'm the admissions director at Brookwood, and fun tidbit, I actually grew up on the campus because my parents worked here as well. So I'm kind of fond of it. But Brookwood community is a setting about 40 miles west of downtown Houston. And if you know how big Houston is, we're just as Houston stops, there's Brookwood. We're really not that far from the city. So we sit on about 500 acres. And like Caitlin mentioned, there's a lot of just kind of natural barrier around us to help us with that rural feeling. I kind of describe Brookwood as a small village with group home style living. We use a foster family model. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But overarching social support that will extend wherever a citizen is on campus. We're also a God-centered community, which is why some folks choose us, but sometimes not. I would say that we have a Christian pastor, but we also serve Jewish and Muslim families as well. You can go to the next slide. So the big bulk of our program is a work program. Every day, the 112 residents that live on campus will report to a job somewhere else on the north side of campus. They'll join another 120 folks that come just for the day. So their job experience is, it's big. There's about 200 or so other adults that are working in these social supported enterprises. So the typical person that's coming to Brookwood maybe has tried competitive employment. A few of our folks have, many of them have, and there was just some support needed in order to be successful. Maybe it has to do with vulnerabilities, maybe hygiene support that's needed. Maybe it's management of a health issue, diabetes or epilepsy. But that Brookwood kind of exists to allow for a job, but with the ongoing and not fading support of teachers, and also some medical oversight in that way. But we have a number of different types of jobs within the work program. Handcrafts can be ceramics. You'll see the picture up above, stone cast, jewelry making, soap making, and then horticulture is a huge part. We have 47 greenhouses and grow hundreds of thousands of plants each year. And so, but within each of those enterprises, you'll see there's jobs where you're sitting, jobs where you might just do a part of one thing. Some jobs are very repetitive. Some of our guys some do not like repetitive jobs. And so our goal for everyone is just to kind of match them with more the style of work that they're looking for. And we just hope that we have enough variety that everyone can find what it is that they want to be doing during the day. But that is 40 hours of their week. I will say too that Brookwood is a 14C certificate holder, which means our citizens are paid, but it's at a special minimum wage. It is so that it does not jeopardize their benefits because they are at these jobs for 40 hours a week. And there's a time study and it's a very regulated process, but we just know that our citizens would not otherwise be in competitive employment. So it's just that opportunity there. See if I forgot anything. Okay, so the citizen home. So when they're not at work, they're in one of 9 different residences. Right now, we have 2 new homes that are going to be finished this month. Most of the citizens live in a large group home like you're looking at. We use a foster family model. So there's a family and most of them have kids that live in a home with 10 to 12 men or women. We have one other style of residence. Well, I would say 2. One is a dorm style residence that has 34 men and women that live there. And we have another home that really provides just good continuity of care if someone has a special health need or psychiatric need. The Kilroy home is just smaller and just allows, for example, someone that is experiencing dementia because they've lived at Brookwood for 35 years and they're just in that part of their life, or maybe they have an ostomy or they're, susceptible to bed wounds, something that really needs consistent eyes on daily changes. And so we have one small opportunity for that type of care. There isn't much cost variation amongst the homes. Our broad tuition that covers room and board and activities and medical coordination, everything. There aren't a lot of above and beyond pieces to that, but it's $4,670 per month. Brookwood is licensed as an assisted living facility. And so that cost is comprehensive because you can't kind of piece those things together. Unlike some of the other programs you'll see where a different kind of support can come in and utilize a waiver, Brookwood's programming is going to be 24 hours a day. And so it's all included in there. We do have the ability to offset that with tuition assistance. Up to about 30% at this time is what our endowment can allow for. So, if you're interested in that, I can talk more about how that works. Trying to think if there's anything else about the home.
So one thing that you hit on that I'm aware of, but I wanted to just, I want you to talk about that again, that you guys have full residential services, but you have 120 people that come for the day. They might come a couple of times a week. They may come to work or what have you. So if a person is looking for a program for their loved one, but they don't need or want residential care at this time, then you have that option for them. Is that right?
Yes, and that's probably going to be the most common way someone's going to join the community if they're able to get to Brookwood somehow, because I saw someone asked about the wait list. I ask families to prepare for a 3 to 5 year wait for placement, which sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of life, citizens do come to live at Brookwood for the rest of their life. If you believe that Brookwood is the right place, we hope that we can find placement in an amount of time that's good. But joining the work program is a way to kind of get their feet wet and get to know the culture and the community and all the citizens. So that transition is a little bit smoother as they would move into the residential component.
Are you guys doing tours? I know COVID messed everybody on here up, but are you doing live tours now, or what is your status for tours? And do you still require a tour to be able to even be on your wait list, or how does that work?
Yeah, so to start the admissions process, someone would come on a tour. What we're doing right now, we have resumed driving tours, but for families, that's not going to be a very good picture. I do a virtual presentation that's about an hour and a half long, the insides of all the buildings, talking about program placement and meeting citizens' needs. And then followed by a driving tour to get acclimated with campus. But yeah, for the other two folks on here licensed as assisted living facilities, each week we're starting to get more and more lifts on the restrictions. You know, some are specific to, you know, vaccination and things like that. But we just got told today, or the update yesterday was that our home cohorts can now be broken up. So until yesterday, the homes haven't been able to intermix, no block parties or socials. And so now we're able to, this Sunday will be our first all community worship in person for the first time. So we're really excited about that.
So you said that and this is what we say is that, you know, waiting lists could be up to 5 years. So starting this, you know, process of touring these facilities, getting your name on lists that might be a fit for you is a good idea. You know, prior to the child turning 18 years old or 22, whatever the magic age is that you're thinking about. Is there a waiting list for the day program? And how long is that waiting list?
So it's not really a waiting list. The hard part is we have a backlog right now, which I don't know if other programs are experiencing that, but we just didn't enroll for a year. And so trying to unload all the folks that need a volunteer day, which is part of the process, and then to eventually enroll in the program, because we're trying to figure out what job they're going to do in that process, it's taking time. Like I almost don't know yet because we're still in that unload. But I'm telling families right now, if they're interested in by the end of summer, that they need to start now. And to be, you know, just exploring multiple places at one time. I saw two more questions. The cost of the day program is $1,130 per month. It is prorated for part-time participation, and there is a good ability for tuition assistance to cover almost all if the financial need is there for that. And then the age is 22 is the youngest. There's a potential for a waiver, but because we hold that 14C certificate and we are, you know, saying competitive employment is not likely to be maintained by someone that might otherwise be coming to Brookwood, we want them to be able to maximize their time in the school system, just to make sure there wasn't, you know, just some components that come into play where they could, you know, work at a movie theater or something. And so then, you know, if by 22 though, there's still some support needed that a movie theater manager won't do. But yeah, go ahead.
What about, is there do you guys partner with anybody for transportation to the day program?
We have our own buses. So we have our own buses that come down I-10 starting at the, if you're from Houston, starting at 610 Wart Road. It stops again in Katy, and we have one that comes from West Houston near the Briarwood School. We also have a satellite in the Woodlands that just opened up in February at the Woodlands United Methodist Church. And then, which is just a way that if you don't have transport to get there. And then we have a satellite in Richmond that folks can utilize Fortman Transit.
Okay, that's important. I think people definitely need to know that from a logistic perspective.
There's a question, the upper age limit to admit a new resident. There is not one.
The very last question I have before we move on to Dave.
Well, I have one more slide that I wanted. I think I have one more slide,
absolutely.
If that's okay.
Sure. A fun one.
Oh no, I had two. So these are just, oh no, just one. I'm thinking of another presentation. But community life, Brookwood has a number of amenities that, you know, we do get off campus, but there's also an opportunity at Brookwood to allow for folks to come to us. And that's more of our goal, that, you know, if Vicky has a seizure at the Astros game, We will manage it, but if more opportunity can happen for Vicky where, a big group from Exxon is coming in, or the whole high school from Houston Christian High School is coming to swim with us, we're still in an environment that's been designed for some of the physical disabilities we have, surrounded by people that know exactly how to respond and troubleshoot if there's an issue. And so we do a lot of that as well. You'll see our gym. And same with the physicians. We bring physicians to us as part of a medical home model, so that labs can be drawn in their home, even by their bedside. So there's no fasting or waiting in waiting rooms. The dental chair and x-rays are in our health center. 11 different specialists come to us. Our nurses are there to support, and it just keeps citizens feeling comfortable, and not having to experience all these different elevators and escalators and people talking too loud, or, we try to handle most of the medical care on campus if we can. But thankfully, the Texas Medical Center is not far in case we need that.
So my question, I have a couple of questions on that. Are there anything like trachs, G-tubes, or other things that an individual with disabilities may have that you can't serve? And is there I know it's not an age, but is there like an illness or a kind of a critical care needs that come up in a person's life as they age where you can't serve them anymore, where they have to go somewhere else, or what happens with that?
Yeah, so Brookwood is licensed as assisted living, which means someone has to come in a medically stable condition. And I'll tell you what that isn't, is something like if they've already gotten a dementia diagnosis or Parkinson's, where they are actively declining. However, if someone has lived here for 30 years and now has a Parkinson's diagnosis, we are committed to aging in place, which is a specific kind of waiver with Health and Human Services, so that they can remain here. We partner with hospice at the appropriate time, and almost all of our citizens are able to live here through the end of their life. But as someone's coming in, one of like the skilled nursing thing that we're not, right? Our licensed assisted living. We do have someone with a trach. We have folks with ostomies, use catheters, but for someone that, there are just moments where eyes aren't always staring at people in our big work environment. I almost want to say that if there's a need that's not conducive to the daily life of Brookwood, that we might not be a fit. I just always ask families to explore it, because about 10% of our residents actually have a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury. So they might have been typical at some point in their life, had a job, a family, and due to an accident, work or car, they now need this type of support that we can provide. So yeah, I'm just answering this final question, but
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you, Laura, for being with us and talking to us about Brookwood. We'll be happy when the tours open up again. And I mean, again, we got to keep everybody safe in the meantime. But so thank you for sharing all that really, really great information.
Yeah,
all right. Courtney, I have Courtney up with Daymark Living. Thanks for being with us here today, Courtney. Take it away.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us. My name is Courtney. I'm the Community Outreach Director here at Daymark Living. And I grew up with a younger brother who was diagnosed with autism. So I actually found Daymark when my brother graduated from school. I was helping my mom just kind of look for some resources. So Daymark was founded just a couple of years ago. We opened our doors as a way to kind of bridge the gap for some of the services that are available after high school and all the way throughout adulthood. So our community starts services at age 18, and we currently have no age cap. So our oldest resident right now is 67, and he is still able to take care of his daily living skills like bathing, brushing his teeth, and things like that. So whenever he might or she would get to that point where we would have skilled nursing, we would transition them into another community. So right now we have about 70 residents and we have capacity for 200. So we are not on a wait list and we are currently accepting new applications. You can go to the next slide, please. All right, so this is a kind of an overview of what our campus looks like. We are located just south of Dallas in a town called Waxahachie. It's about 30 minutes south of Dallas. It's a very cute little town. Everybody has been very welcoming here, and it's one of the reasons why they chose to build in Waxahachie. The community has accepted our residents with open arms, which we absolutely love. So we have about 40 acres and we are built on 20. So what you see here with the community, that's 20 acres. We have a full service dining hall that provides breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all of our residents. We have a classroom building where they attend programming throughout the day, 7 days a week. And then we have a recreation center or a clubhouse where they can go and hang out during their downtime or in the evening in between classes, with a pool table, movie theater, karaoke, games, sports court, and a swimming pool. So we go to the next slide. And our programming is really based off of this one word here, Thrive. We really want all of our residents to be able to live as independently as possible. So a lot of our classes and the way that we've set up our community is through a breakdown of this word. So everything is tailored to the individual. People come to Daymark for all types of different personal goals, and our staff is here to help them achieve those, whatever that looks like for them. Health and wellness is also a really big topic. Some residents want to lose weight, others are maybe need to put on a couple pounds. So with help with our kitchen staff and programming, we can work with you guys on that. Relationships is also a really big one. Social skills, dating and relationships. We are open to dating on campus. We do allow relationships, and that's something that we're always talking about and teaching, like safety and boundaries and things like that. And of course, independence. So we will help residents in the daily living skills like chores and getting ready for the day. But of course, the goal for them is to be able to do it on their own someday. Vocational is also a really big one for jobs training. Like a couple of the others had said, work is very, very important, and we work hard for them to get a job out in the community or on campus. So I'll talk about that in just a little bit. And then of course, educational. So a lot of our programming is educational, where we're teaching either reading, advanced reading, mathematics, cooking skills, budgeting, advanced independent living skills, if it's maybe learning about insurance or things like that. So we want to try to continue that, especially when a lot of the classes end after high school. We try to carry that on. So our next slide talks about employment. We recently partnered with Best Buddies, and Cheyenne on the right is our jobs coach. So she teaches classes on campus in group settings, and she also works with our residents one-on-one who are interested in getting a job. So she'll kind of find out what they're interested in, go over any past experience that they have, and then get them ready for employment out in the community. We do also have some jobs available on campus. Mandy on the left works as our housekeeping on site. So there are a couple opportunities if they feel more comfortable working at the community. But our goal is to get them off site working out in Waxahachie. And another reason why we just love this community is we've never had problems finding jobs for them. Waxahachie has been super generous and loves working with our residents. So that's been a blessing. And we also will provide transportation if you're working out into the community. So for some of the programming that happens on campus, it's hard to kind of tie it all together because there's so much that happens. But on a typical day, we will start getting up and getting ready at around 7 or 8, just depending on the residents. And then we have programming and classes that go all the way until about 8 o'clock at night. So it can be a pretty busy schedule. Here, I just pulled some of the classes that we have going on just today. So you can see it's a pretty wide range: walking club, grocery store, kitchen, life etiquette, personal fitness, tea and meditation. So I'll let you kind of browse that. And if you'd like, I can send you our whole week schedule. But nothing is required to attend. These are all just there for the residents to go to. And we have class signups weekly. So our residents will sign up for classes with a coach. And that way they have that kind of freedom in picking the classes that they want for the following week. So that's how we kind of keep up with that. And then for the next slide, I'll get into a little bit of our costs. So we are kind of like an all-inclusive fee. Right now, our monthly fee is $3,900, and it includes everything that we offer on campus. So rent, 3 meals a day, nursing, coaches support, transportation for work, all of the programming, 3 meals a day, everything that we offer. And then we do, for parents, we are private pay, so a lot of families will use SSI to apply to our monthly costs, but we don't accept insurance or anything like that. However, lots of families have HCFs and other kind of waiver programs, so you can still use those services on campus. It just doesn't get applied directly to our costs. So we don't bill out or anything like that. But we have some residents that still have providers that are coming in and out throughout the day, and that's completely fine. We definitely want to work with you on that so you're not losing those services. So private pay, $3,900 a month, and we also will talk with you on like financial opportunities. We have some scholarships that are available on a case-by-case basis through our nonprofit branch, Post and Gardens. It's a very large tulip festival that we have every spring and March. And so that's been raising some funds for scholarships. So just talk with us. We're happy to meet you where you're at. And I always advise families to talk to a special needs financial planner like Allison. This is a really big commitment. And so we always advise families as they're coming through the process to at least talk about it with somebody before making a commitment. Let's see. Any questions?
Do you have how many residents do you have right now? And then can you give us a range of their ages?
Sure. So right now we have about 70. Every month we get about 5 new ones, and our current average age is 33. Our youngest is 18 and our oldest is 67.
Okay, average age is 33. And then just for clarification, I know you said it, I just wanted to make sure that I had it right, that your per month is $3,900 per month?
$3,900 per month, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, is this you or are we moving on to the next one?
This is just a quick idea.
Okay.
You're welcome to come to a tour for our campus. You don't have to be involved in the admissions process at all. But if you are wanting to get the ball rolling, feel free to give us a call. And this is kind of what our admissions process looks like. But yeah.
And I think another question, since we had this one earlier, and it was a good question about the guardianship. Can you do that or can you not? I think all panelists should answer that question. I think that might be a pressing one for everyone.
Yeah, that's a great question. We do not take over the role of guardianship. So we ask that whatever is written in the will, that parents specify who will take over that role as guardian before, whether it's another family member or a friend or anything like that. So we can assist with that process, but we will not become guardian.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
Let me see if we have any other questions on that. I think we're good. I think we're good. Thank you so much for sharing and going through that with us. Sounds like a pretty amazing place. There's Courtney's contact information, and we love your passion. So thank you for being with us today, Courtney.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
So next I have Rachel Medina with Live Oak Living. Thanks for being with us, Rachel. I'm going to turn this straight over to you so you can get into the meat and potatoes about what you guys serve.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Rachel Medina. I am the Director of Development for Live Oak Living Community. We're located out in San Marcos in Martindale, which is about 45 minutes from Austin one way and San Antonio the other. We were started in 2002 as really an alternative for adults who have cognitive disabilities who are looking for a long-term solution. Usually when people come to us, they're out of the crisis stage, they're stable, they're on medication, and they're floating. You know, they're not really sure what they want to do with their lives. They're not really sure where they fit in. And that's kind of our role, is to get past that. What are your goals in life? What are your ambitions? What do you want to do? How do we fill your day with meaningful activities that's going to help you grow as a person? We work with people kind of across the spectrum. We have people here who have intellectual developmental disabilities, mental health issues, traumatic brain injuries, autism. So we kind of run the gambit there. And same in the the levels of people that we support. We have people here who are close to nonverbal, and we have people here who have graduated from Ivy League universities. So we really pride ourselves on individualization. How do we help you in your specific situation? We understand that it's never a one-size-fits-all scenario. What works for one person is not going to work for another. So for that reason, we have 3 different locations. We have our Live Oak Ranch, which is our largest location. It's on 65 acres out in beautiful countryside. We've got our name because we have these 100-year-old live oak trees that just grow all across our campus. It creates a really great place for people who need space. You know, we work with a lot of people who just need room to be, need room to grow. Everybody here has their own rooms. We provide a lot of on-campus activities and classes and clubs. COVID, unfortunately, stopped us from utilizing the community as much, but glass half full, we were able to really upscale the opportunities that we had on campus for people. So we have everything from yoga to our mindfulness club. We've got a Bible study. We have yoga and fitness, music appreciation, a 411 class, and a tea club where they really are able to talk about how to be together and how to work as a community. So that program is, again, our largest program. It's our founder program. We also have our Live Oak Apartments, and that's for people who maybe don't need as much support. Our ranch is 24/7 supervision and care, whereas our apartments have about 12 hours where we have staff support available to them. This program is really for people who maybe they've got their ADLs down, they don't need constant supervision, but they're looking for some more autonomy in their lives. We want to provide a spectrum of care for people, and not everybody needs somebody constantly looking over their shoulder. But what we find is the people that are going to our apartments really need a lot of social care. So they need opportunities to get out into the community. They need opportunities to network. They need opportunities to volunteer and to get jobs. And so that's really the focus of our apartment program, is how do we help them integrate into the community? They don't need our support as much, so how do we help them network with the people around them? So we do a lot of support in working with people's bosses in the community. For example, we have one gentleman that's worked at Taco Bell for around 20 years. And we have a great standing relationship with his manager. So we're able to kind of help network between those two if there are any challenges or issues that people are having, so that we address those. And that just adds a lot of continuity for those people, that they get to keep their jobs, that they get to stay in their communities, and that they have someone that can help them kind of get through the rough waters and the rough times. Our last program is the Smith House program. And this has truly become our aging in place program. It's smaller, it's all in one house, it's 8 bedrooms. And people here have been with us for a long time. In fact, one of our residents is 86, and she's known the founder of our company for around 50 years. So it's really great to have somebody that can stay with the program and stay in their home for so long and be with us for so long. We're not a medical facility, we are still assisted living. So this is great for people who maybe are aging but don't need a lot of hands-on medical care. Again, the focus at this program is how do we get people active in doing what they do, but we understand that the people who live at Smith House may not want to be as fast-paced or as active as our Live Oak Ranch community. So this offers an opportunity for us to really slow things down and work with people at the level that they're at. We are a private pay community, so we charge $225 a day. That is an all-inclusive cost, so that covers room and board, that covers case management, that covers 24/7 support. Our apartments is a little bit cheaper because we only have about 12 hours of support there. Medication management is also included in that. We have a team of health coordinators that go to every single doctor's appointment and advocate on behalf of residents. So if there are any questions, concerns, sometimes our residents may not be able to give a good history of what's going on medically with them. They're going to have that person that's going to be able to sit and answer all of those questions. We really focus on, again, activities. So we've got tons of activities that are included in the day. I think people have brought up transportation, which of course is all inclusive, and all of the other things that we do, like helping people navigate their volunteer positions or their jobs, is included as well.
And what is your program cost?
It's $225 a day for the Live Oak Ranch and for Smith House. The apartments run about $200 to $215.
200 to 215 per day.
Mm-hmm.
And are you on a waiting list? And the ages that you serve?
We are currently on a wait list for our ranch program and our Smith House location. We do have a few rooms left for our apartment program. That program is also considered PASS. So we are able to work with people who live close by our apartments in their own homes or in their own apartments off campus as well. They're able to utilize all of the supports that we offer. And occasionally we can offer a unique price, a different price for people that are living in their own separate homes.
Okay, and so a couple just quick last questions. I'm gonna move your slide. I lost it. What about the guardianship? We wanted to know about the guardianship. You mentioned the transportation, which is high on everybody's list. And then the last one I see is, well, it's twofold. Dementia and like mental illness. There is some concern. So if you're serving mentally ill, for non-mentally ill residents, how do you separate or not separate? And is that, can you talk about that? Those were the main ones.
Sure. Okay. So let's start off with guardianship. We don't offer guardianship within our programs. However, we work very closely with our guardians that are currently in place. Sometimes those are state appointed guardians. Sometimes those are family members. And I know that there's a lot of work that goes into guardianship. And so we work really hard to provide you guys with all of the supportive material that you might need. For example, receipts or reports or anything of that nature. We have assisted our families in attaining guardianship. So we have some great contacts that we're willing to provide people with if they're ready to take that step into guardianship. A lot of what we do, though, is great because it helps people who maybe would need a guardian if they were living by themselves in the community, but because they're living in such a supportive environment, maybe they don't need quite that level of care or support. Again, that's highly individualized. It doesn't work across the board for all of our residents, but our goal is to make sure that the guardians, of course, have access and are able to come by and see them, but that we're trying to meet a lot of those needs that the guardian would be required to meet. So then the second question, I think, was about dementia. Our Aging in Place program helps people who are aging in place with severe mental illness. And sometimes it is difficult to differentiate, mental illness and traumatic brain injury from dementia as people age. We really don't have criteria on diagnosis because really what we believe is that people need to have their needs met at such an individual level. And at the end of the day, we all want someplace to go, something to do, and someone to do it with. So as long as we can meet those needs, the actual diagnosis doesn't matter. Now, that doesn't mean we can't reach our limitations if dementia gets to an extreme and we feel that we're ill-equipped and somebody needs to be in a program that truly specializes in dementia care. We have programs that we could, of course, refer people to. But as long as they're working in our community, that they are having their needs met, we want them to be able to stay with us.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Rachel. And we've got your contact information on here. You do have a wait list. Somebody asked in the chat box the cost of the apartments, and you said the apartments range between 200 and 215 per day is the apartment range. And are meals included or not included with that?
Meals are included. We have several residents who choose to get their breakfast and lunch on their own, though. So we give them basically a stipend, and they're able to go to the grocery store and pick out their foods, or during COVID, go online and pick out what they want to eat. And then they can take that to their apartments. The apartments do have their own kitchens in them, so a lot of them choose to utilize that. But we also have what we call the Luck House. It's our clubhouse, which is right across the street. One of the great things about the apartments is that we have a resident chef program. So almost all of the residents are rotating out, cooking their own meals with staff support for their own community.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And so if you guys have additional questions about Live Oak Living, you can reach out to Rachel directly. And so thanks for being with us. I'm going to switch over to Marbridge Foundation, Rosie Dunlap. We're scheduled to end at 1, and we're going to push through and get through all of this. So I'm going to turn right over to Rosie. Thanks, Rosie, for being with us. And we've got you on mute right now. There you go.
All right, thanks for having me, Allison, and welcome everybody. I would love to just tell you guys a little bit about Marbridge and still be cognizant of everyone's time. So if you have additional questions, my info will be up at the end. But Marbridge is a long-standing community. We've been around almost 70 years now. We have about 260 residents between our 3 different care communities. Which have different license, some of them do, which I'll explain further in a second. But we focus on lifelong learning and teaching independent living skills and providing social opportunities to individuals with intellectual disabilities. And as some of the other panelists have said, we try to look more at each individual and can we meet their needs versus any one particular diagnosis or one diagnosis that maybe we can't do. That being said, we're not a therapeutic program, so anyone that has significant mental health needs, we most likely would not be able to support. But again, we'll talk to people case by case. We serve residents as young as 18 up to end of life. And we are a little unique because we actually do have that full continuum of care here on our campus, which again, I'll get into momentarily. Our residents range in age, but 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all of that is very common at Marbridge, but amongst our 260 residents, it tapers off a little as we get older, as the residents get older. As I mentioned, we actually have 3 different care communities on our campus. The first one I'll talk about is the Ranch. The Ranch is licensed as an assisted living community. It has a little more structure and support than our other assisted living community, which is more like semi-independent living. The Ranch has a ratio, just to kind of give you guys an idea, of about 1 staff member to 12 residents. We actually have a dormitory building and 4 residential lodges, which is what you can see a picture of there, that make up the Ranch. There is a staff member in the lodges during the day and evenings, overnight. There are multiple staff members in the dorm. So it's 24/7 awake staff. It's not a foster model. We do have awake staff and it is a shift model. So we don't actually have staff that live on our campus, but rather awake staff at all times. It is private pay. The tuition is $3,800 per month. That includes most things: room and board, all the meals, all the training classes, the staff support. We have nurses on our campus. We have different medical providers. We do employment support. There are a couple things that are not included in the tuition, but they're pretty nominal. Things like cable that's about $15 a month, some transportation fees for residents that are going off campus and participating in off-campus jobs or things like that. And I can talk a little bit more specifically about transportation if that question comes up. So during the day, residents at the ranch are participating in a variety of different training classes, or their schedule may include work. And that's true of the village as well. So we look at each residence, what their goals are, what their family's goals are, what they're trying to learn, what they're trying to achieve, and we create a daily schedule based on that. So mixture of classes, some that are aimed towards independent living, things like cooking class, public transportation, money management, budgeting, social skills. We have a lot of elective classes, art classes, music classes, equine, gardening, geography, just a breadth of different classes. And then we also have our employment piece. So if somebody has a job, which could be on campus, real paid positions, or out in the community, we have 2 employment coordinators that support our residents. They do a job skills class, which is kind of a general assessment class with them. They are making sure they're ready. They help with the interviewing process. They help them train on the job. Once a resident is working out in the community, they are working independently, but our 2 employment coordinators can step in as a liaison anytime that need arises. So that's kind of the ranch in a nutshell. The village is, if you'll go back one more, Allison, sorry. The village is our semi-independent living community. It's licensed the same. It's an assisted living community, but the ratio is going to be a little different. So rather than having a staff member in each of our 15 cottages, we have our direct care staff that we call resident trainers rotating through the cottages. So they're there in the mornings, making sure residents are rising, getting ready for work or class. They're doing med passes. With the assisted living license, all of our meds are supervised administration. They're helping problem solve. They're checking chore checklists. They're there as needed, but they're not going to be in the cottage at any given moment. All of our residents do have an intercom phone in their room. So if staff is not in the building and they need assistance, basically they're just going to do a one-touch button and be able to reach staff as needed. We do have a higher expectation of housekeeping for residents when it comes to the village. They are taking out their own trash, they're cleaning their personal space, they're doing their own laundry. They have a laundry room right there in the cottages. They are maybe working on cooking skills, but most of our cottages, 13 out of the 15, are not independently cooking every single meal. So there is a common dining area for all 3 of our care communities for residents to get their breakfast, lunch, and dinner at. But again, they may be working on cooking skills to work up to an independent cottage. The residents, again, range in age. It's very common to see a breadth of ages and diagnosis at the village. But again, the key takeaway is the level of supervision is going to be a little different than the ranch. So residents there need to have a little higher level of self-initiation and self-advocacy to be successful there. There is a lot of fluidity throughout our campus. So somebody can start at the ranch, and as they gain the skill set necessary for further independence, they can move to the village. And likewise, as we've been around for almost 70 years, we have residents that have needed more assistance, or their medical needs have actually changed over time. And so they can get more support by going to the ranch, or even going to our villa, which is our licensed skilled nursing facility. So that is a different license. It is 84 beds, duly certified Medicare, Medicaid. We accept private pay at the villa, which would be $180 a day for a shared room. But most of the residents at the villa, at our nursing home, and this is specific to the nursing home, most of our residents qualify for long-term Medicaid to be the funding source. So in theory, if someone lived in our assisted living for most of their life and then got to the point where they needed that level of care that the villa provides, long-term Medicaid could kick in for them, or somebody that just needs that level of care from the very beginning. To give you an idea of a typical resident of the villa, we again do have a wide range of ages. Our youngest right now are in their 20s, but came in at 18. Our oldest resident campus-wide actually just passed not too long ago. She was 96. But our average age of our nursing home is about mid-50s. So it's not really going to be your senior-based, neurotypical, elder nursing home. It's really geared towards focusing on a profoundly intellectually and medically fragile community. So we have folks that are different ambulation, but we have a lot of folks in wheelchairs that are not ambulatory that need assistance with all their ADLs. They need assistance feeding, toileting, showering, dressing, things like that. And they require the supervision of a nurse. So that's kind of what we focus on at the Villa. We do have folks that come from outside of our community, but again, it's a continuum of care. So our folks that call Marbridge home can remain here for the long haul and not have to go somewhere else. I think I've covered most of the things on the communities themselves. There's so much to talk about, and I know we have a limited amount of time. As far as availability, we do tend to be pretty full or close to it, but we always see movement. So we encourage interested families to reach out and work with us on going through our admissions process. Our Villa does have a sizable wait list built up at this point because there's so few nursing homes that focus on special needs individuals. So currently we have a wait list of about 20 to 25 for the Villa in particular. But again, we do see movement. The ranch and the village, we usually are measuring our wait lists in months rather than years, but it is hard to predict precisely what the wait time could be because it's really dependent upon our current residents and if they were to choose to leave or graduate on to a more independent setting or transition to our nursing home. So we do see movement, but again, we typically are close to full. I know the guardianship question has come up. I will say that we do have a small number of long-term residents here that may have outlived families and may not have folks that are really engaged in their daily care. So we are guardians for, again, a small number of our residents. We have some that have state appointed guardians, lots of family involvement. We would encourage families to utilize family members or state appointed guardians versus have us step in. But again, in case by case situation, we will look at that.
Are you doing tours right now or not?
Yes, that's a great question. So we, like Brookwood, are doing drive-through vehicle tours at this moment in time. We do anticipate that will continue to evolve to allow us to do more. But if you came tomorrow, I would be in my vehicle and you would be in yours, and I'd get you on speaker and give you a very thorough kind of Universal Cities studio type tour, explain everything. You get to see a lot of our 200 acres, but we're not going inside our resident buildings at this moment in time. Again, I'm sure that will continue to evolve in the future.
And so thank you so much, Rosie, for going over that with us. I know I've toured there and it just feels lovely. It's like I've toured a lot of places and again, what I would say is every place feels a little bit different. We have two more panelists that are going to talk about New Danville and the Village. And so we're going to move right into that and we're going to wrap this up very quickly. Our intention was to be over at 1. So I do apologize for going over. If you have to jump off, this is being recorded. And so we will get those recordings out to you. But without any further more, Eva, thank you for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to you. We've got you on mute right now. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I keep doing that mute button. Thank you all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I know we're running over on time, so I will be brief. Texas New Community Alliance is our official name, chartered in 2005. Our everyday operations, we refer to ourselves as New Danville. New Danville is located in North Montgomery County, in between Huntsville and the Woodlands. Our closest city would be Conroe, and it's about 6 miles away. New Danville offers a variety of programs, both residential, if you could move the slide for a moment, residential and day program. Our focus is to assist our adults and to serve them in such a way as we empower their independence and self-worth. We currently have our residential program. We have 12 homes with a variety of 1 to 4 bedroom floor plans. We currently are full at 36 adults living on campus. This also does include a young couple who lives on campus. They serve as our assistant in the evenings to our residents, security, and he is a registered nurse, so it also offers a sense of comfort to the families if something should happen in the evenings. Our rent includes a private bedroom and private bath with shared common areas and a shared laundry room in each home. All utilities are included. Property manager is on site during the work hours, but available by phone 24 hours a day, and he literally lives less than 10 minutes from the facility. Our rent varies from $695 a month to $800 a month. We also do have 2 tiny homes that are not included in this count. Their rent is $400 a month. We're very cognizant of the area that we serve, and we intentionally keep our rates at a level that is affordable to our clients. We do not accept waiver programs. However, if a person has a waiver program, that provider can provide the in-home supports that the resident may need. The model we currently have is independent living, meaning the adults are able to take care of most all of their residential needs, assisted activities of daily living. However, either the provider or the family will contract for someone to come into the home to provide supports. If that happens, we make sure that that person coming into the homes meets all of our guidelines and safety measures for being on our property. Along with the residential program, we have a vibrant day program available to our residents if they want to participate in that. I think that's on the next slide. Yes, our day program. Not all of our residents attend the day program. Many of them work in the community. A few of them drive. For those that don't, we can provide some transportation to the community to and from work. And there is a separate fee for that depending on the distance. Daily transportation fees for both job supports and the day program ranges anywhere from $6 to $12 depending on the distance. We go a little bit over 40 miles along the I-10 corridor from Huntsville into Houston. So that's available. Our day program, as I mentioned, can be part of a resident's life or not. We have 109 adults that participate in the day program. I won't list off all of the activities. You can see some on there. Our daily fees for the day program is $30 a day. We don't dictate the numbers of days a week that a person has to attend. On average, we have anywhere from 65 to 70 adults attending on a daily basis, and their ages range from 18 to 64, average being in the low 30s. Our activities are geared both for enrichment within the facility, but we do a lot of community-based activities on a daily basis. We were not able to do that for almost a year, but we're excited now that we're starting to do some of our community-based activities. And it could be anywhere from shopping to volunteering at other charities or nonprofits like the food banks or SPCA, things like that, to get them to understand that they receive and therefore they are also, as responsible citizens, should give back as well. So we try to help all of our adults live as enriched a life as possible, including with a big part of that is community inclusion and normal life experiences. Our residential program does accept married couples. We currently have 3 married couples. And the ages in the residential program tend to be in the high 20s to low 30s. In our future plans, next slide. So we are now in the beginning stages of planning more residential options for our adults. We are looking at building 2 assisted living facilities. We're also looking at adding more 1 and 2 bedroom options. We're hoping some of this construction to start in 2022 with the hopes of having some new facilities by 2023. We're also looking to expand our day program as far as space availabilities and to put in a recreational and fitness center. I know we're real short for time. I welcome questions from anyone. You should have my email, or would you please share my email? We are doing tours, but we do request masks and temperature checks. However, to tour the homes, since we are completely full, what I normally do is get permission from one of our residents to go into their home with them present, so a family can kind of get an idea of what the homes look like. I can't hear you, Allison.
See, I did the same thing. How long are your waiting lists, and how long are your leases?
Yes, we do have a waiting list. Unfortunately, right now I have about 25 on the waiting list. I have no way of knowing when they will open up. That's why building more homes is critical. The adults that live here have lived here for quite some time, since some have been here since the homes were built in 2009. The day program, we do not have a wait list.
Okay, so no wait list for the day program.
Right.
Okay, and then are the leases, are they like a 1-year lease?
Yes, we do manage a 1-year lease. If they have to break the lease, of course, there's no fees or penalties for that.
Okay, perfect. Eva, thank you so much for going over.
Thank you
and
so much.
We're excited to see what you guys have got coming up in the coming next couple of years of all of the building that you guys are doing. So it's
yes, we're real
times.
excited about our future. We know the need is definitely here in this community.
For sure. Thanks so much, Eva. Have a great afternoon. Okay. Laura, thank you for hanging in there. We're so glad you're here. And please tell us about the Village Centers. Laura is our last presenter today. She's going to go over their facility, who they serve. And so thanks for hanging in with us. We're just about to wrap up. Thank you, Laura.
Well, no problem. I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you all. And I've learned a lot myself today. So I am Laura Rose. I am the, Director of Operations for the Village Centers. So I just was going to discuss our residential options with you all, and also talk about our other services that we have. So if you want to, there we go. So Village at Stony Glen was our first residential facility. The Village Centers was started actually 20 years ago by a mom that wanted her son to have the best independence he could as an adult. And she wanted to be able to have her life as well. So she started the Village, and then it's grown into what it is today, and it's still growing. And because she has a vision, and it's amazing. So Village at Stony Glen was the very first residential home. It's a licensed small type B assisted living. We have beds there for 16 residents, and we do also use 2 of those beds as respite beds. It is Medicaid or private pay funded, and in that home we do have 24-hour awake staff. I will get into a few of the other activities and things once I go through the other homes, because they all kind of go hand in hand. The Village at Hickory Glen is a HUD Section 811 independent apartment home. Over there we have 1, 2, or 3 bedrooms in the apartments, and we have a live-in on-site manager. Rent's based on 30% of your adjusted gross income, which is less medical and job expenses. The great thing about Village at Hickory Glen, we have so many different scenarios over there. We even have a couple that is married. We have a single parent with their adult child living situation. We have roommate situations, and we have some that are totally independent. The other thing about Hickory Glen is It is a small community, and they have a clubhouse. They are right behind Walmart, so a lot of them will go over there and, you know, get snacks and things like that. And so it's really a neat little place, and it's all centrally located near our other buildings as well. As a matter of fact, it's right over my shoulder behind here. And
did you mention where you guys are located?
Oh, I am so sorry, and I meant to do that. I apologize. We are in Kingwood, Texas, which is in northeast Harris County, and so all of our facilities are within a couple of blocks of one another for the most part. So, and I'll explain a little bit. Like, I'm in admin right now, and Village at Hickory Glen, the independent apartments are right behind me. And then, so we're very centrally located. So anyway, so you can go to the next slide. And so this is our newest home. This is Village at Rising Hills, and we were so excited to open this. We felt that there was a need for several of our residents that were starting to get older that had HCS funding, that it was time for them to have this home together, and it has worked out beautifully. It is a little bit further from our other campuses, but not that far. It is still in the Kingwood area in the Oakhurst neighborhood. It is a Village HCS group home, so it's a 3 to 4 person home. Right now, we currently have 3 people that live there. And they are all same age males. And so it just works out beautifully. We're hoping that they're gonna age into place there in that home. So in this house, the rent and utilities are paid by the resident and the resident families. And then the staff is paid for with the HCS waiver. That's how it's funded. So it's an HCS group home. So next slide. Okay, this is going to be our newest development that we are all excited about. This is the site plan for it. It is actually going to be built again over by the apartment, Hickory Glen Apartments. So it's going to be cottages at Cheney Lane. So if you haven't noticed, all of our residential homes are named after the road that they're on. So it's kind of the trend here. I think it's cute. So this is going to be cottages at Cheney Lane. They're going to be small single-family homes, so families can live there together. So we're super excited about that. They're expecting completion to be by the beginning of 2022. There's going to be 6 to 7 rentals on the property, and the rent is going to be funded through housing vouchers. We are going to be having a wait list for these soon, and so if you're interested in this, it's something I definitely would be looking into. So I want to go back to the wait list on kind of an overview of everything. The apartments, the independent living apartments, the Village at Hickory Glen, I always tell everybody it's about a 2-year wait list. It could go quicker. People sometimes move into a different roommate situation and things of that nature. So if that's something you're interested in, please contact me so we can get you guys on the waiting list for that. So as far as all of our facilities, our residential facilities, most of our residents do attend our day program. Our residents at the HCS group home and the ones that live in the assisted living facility, they go to the to the day program every day. A lot of the residents in the independent living apartments do as well. We provide transportation to our day program from all of our facilities. We have a vocational program that we do as well during the day program, and we have residents and non-residents employed at various locations in the Kingwood area. We also have, during the day program, we have activities, and obviously we're very excited that things are starting to open up a little bit more, where we can start doing a little bit more activities during the day. We just started a Bloom Fitness program that's great. The guys are loving that one. So we have a lot going on. Everybody's ready to get back out there and be a part of the community again. The Village has a strong community, and we're growing. So do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't have any questions at this time. It sounds like you guys have a lot of different options going on, and the properties really look beautiful. So, Laura's contact information is up on the screen. I would be remiss if I didn't say something about Bloom Consulting. And I'm gonna jump back, Laura. Thank you so much for presenting your facility and what you guys have got going on with the village centers. You did a great job. And again, I encourage people to reach out and tour. I'm going to jump back just a few slides. Oh, geez, I really jumped back. Well, let me just say this. I'm going to just go ahead and stop the share for now. But what I want to say is that Bloom Consulting, they definitely do have a home in the greater Houston area. And so I do want you to check out Bloom Consulting. They're an organization that we've partnered with before, and they really do a whole lot in the space of vocational planning and being able for your loved one to find competitive work and kind of assessing and things like that. But they also have a home in the greater Houston area. So I do want you to check out their website. She had some technical difficulties today and was not able to present. So I'm sorry that we missed that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm sorry that we went over. This was such valuable information all in one presentation. And so I would like to just thank each and every one of our panelists for being here today and sharing your information. We'll get these slides and this recording out to you either later today or tomorrow morning. So thanks so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Take care.